Ham Radio Activities, the complete amateur radio contesting manual. Tips and techniques for competing and winning in a ham radio contest. Written by Dwight Standfield. Narrated by Tim Carper. Introduction. I want to thank you and congratulate you for downloading the book Ham Radio Activities, the complete amateur radio contesting manual at Tips and Techniques in a Ham Radio Contest. This book is the ultimate amateur radio contesting manual. Ham, that is the name given to those who operate ham radios. Ham radio contests, on the other hand, are a different ballgame altogether. In this guide, we shall be discussing how, although the contest aspects of ham radio operation intimidates many, at the heart of the contest is the need for connection and fun. This guide shall equip you with the requisite knowledge that you'll need to participate in ham radio contests with skill and confidence. After learning the different types of contests, how they work, and their rules, the software and hardware to use, you will start building up your QSO count and adding interesting DX contacts to your list of contacts. Let's begin. Thanks again for downloading this book. I hope you enjoy it. To get started, we shall go all the way back as a way to help you understand ham radios and their history. Ham radio basics. Understanding amateur radio. Also called amateur radio, ham radio is one of the select radio frequencies for communication. The communication can be private, emergency, non-commercial, or even for experimentation purposes. The term amateur, as in amateur radio, refers to persons interested in radio technology for personal reasons, without any monetary interest, and to differentiate ham radio broadcasting from commercial broadcasting, professional two-way radio, such as those used by taxis, aviation, and marine, and public safety communication, such as those used by the police and fire marshals. On the one hand, radio sport, also called contesting, is a competitive aspect of amateur radio where amateur radio operators, hams, compete against each other. An amateur radio operator is a person who uses radio equipment within an amateur radio station that has designated radio frequencies that have been assigned to an amateur radio service to engage other hams, amateur radio operators, in a two-way personal communication. To transmit on a specific radio frequency, amateur radio operators ought to pass an examination administered by a governmental authority, an examination that tests the grasp of their applicable regulations, radio theory, electronics, and radio operation. Upon passing the exam, the hams get an amateur radio license. One component of the license granted after passing the regulatory exam is a call sign that hams use for identifying themselves whenever they are communicating with other hams. According to the International Amateur Radio Union, there are over 2.6 million amateur radio operators spread around the world. In a ham radio contest, hams, in teams or as individuals, use an amateur radio station and its assigned frequencies to contact and exchange information with as many other amateur radio stations within a specified time. Each ham radio contest has its own rules that define the radio bands, the mode of communication used, as well as the kind of information exchanged during the contact. The contacts contacted throughout the said session make up a score that determines the ranking of each of the participating station. As we have hinted at many times, hams use specific radio frequencies for communication. Because of the variety of frequencies, hams can use many frequency bands on the radio spectrum. In the U.S., the Federal Communications Commission, or the FCC, is responsible for allocating frequencies for amateur radio use. For specificity purposes, hams can operate above the AM broadcast band and gigahertz range, with many hams operating in the frequency range of AM radio band 1.6 MHz to slightly above the citizens band of 27 MHz. To listen in to an amateur radio communication, non-hams can use radio scanners and receivers. In the day, the best frequencies for long-distance communications are 15 to 27 MHz. At night, the best frequency ranges for communication are 1.6 to 15 MHz. From a historical perspective,
Sample complete. Ready to continue?